putting me until I got to the jail.
But
and they
where?
searched me
But where?
in my bra. In my bra.
Wait
right
a
here.
minute. Are you really you're gonna sit here and tell us that someone put Suboxone, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in your purse and bra and you didn't know it?
Yeah. Why would I lie? Anything I've ever done in my life, I've always taken responsibility for.
Okay, okay. I guess why would you lie? Like this is this a first? This might, I don't know, when you think you've seen it all. Guys, don't drink the water in Connecticut. That's kind of like what we've learned from these Connecticut parole hearings, because they all have, not they all, but so many of them, they just have something in common. It's just there's something going on. But yeah, she was arrested on 6/10 of 2020, possession with intent to sell, but according to her, all just a big misunderstanding, and facing a 27-month sentence, but a maximum release date of 2026. Let's see how the parole board handles this pillar of honesty. Yeah, let's jump in.
Kiashia Garcia, 302-487.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Kiashia Garcia, inmate number 302-487. She is serving a sentence of 7 years suspended after 27 months with 3 years probation for possession with intent and failure to appear first. As of today, records reflect parole eligibility date of November 28th, 2024. There is no victim in the case. There is an offender accountability plan. It is reviewed and shows she has completed no programs on the OAP at this time. Utilizing Williams risk needs assessment, they've been overall scoring recidivity in moderate range. Ms. Garcia, this is your chance to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Well, before I got in here, I didn't realize, how depressed and everything that was going on. I was struggling with coming in here and the whole situation with the case and everything. And when I got in here, I kind of realized that, everything that I was going through wasn't what I wanted, and it wasn't what was supposed to be happening in my life. I had got into car accidents and all this stuff was going on, abusive relationships. So things were not what I was used to doing. And now that I'm here and I've gone through the situation and got time to think about everything that's going on and where I want to be, I'm now able to say that I can accept the help that I need, to help that I never asked for, and move forward with my life and do the things that I need to do as far as being with my children and my granddaughter and helping my daughter open up her business and get my life together with what I want to do. If I want to go back to school or get a job, which I'm always good at doing, and be a member of society like I should be. And that's where I'm at today, so.
Okay. Thank you for your statement, Ms. Garcia. We do have questions for you.
Yeah.
We're done. We'll deliberate amongst ourselves and give you our decision.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, listen, I don't want to retry this case. We're not judges or a jury, but I understand that you deny you were selling drugs. You say you gave a friend a ride and there were drugs in the car. You didn't know they had drugs.
Yes. I didn't do what I came in here for. I wasn't the one doing what I was charged for.
Okay, but you did have drugs.
Yeah. But it wasn't, what happened was the guy that I was dating, I was in my room sleeping, and he had asked me to bring a car so that he could take the car, and he would drop me back off. And when I kept denying that I didn't want to go because I was tired and I wanted to sleep, he kept asking me to bring the car, bring the car, bring the car. So I finally got up and brought him the car. I didn't know the drugs were in the car. So then he went and did what he was doing, and I was sitting in the car. One of the people that was standing in front of the store, I know her through my foster sister. So she was crying. So I had asked her what was going on with her. So I told her, come in the car and we'll take a drive around. Yeah. And I'll talk to her. So when I dropped her back off, he asked me to hold some money for him. So I thought that he was putting money. I don't know what he put in me until I got to the jail.
But where?
In my bra. In my bra.
Wait a minute. Are you really you're gonna sit here and tell us that someone put Suboxone, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in your purse and bra, and you didn't know it?
Yeah, why would I lie? Anything I've ever done in my life, I've always taken responsibility for.
You are trash.
Well, if someone said to me, I need to stash something in your purse, in your bra, I think I would question what it was.
If I'm in a relationship with the guy, I didn't think anything of it, honestly.
Maybe you should know who you're in a relationship with then. Maybe that's the bigger issue.
I agree.
I mean, your story, I don't believe it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't believe your story. That's
fine.
crazy to me.
I don't have a
45
reason to lie
baggies
to you.
of fentanyl, 45 baggies of fentanyl, 8 strips of Suboxone, and 9 baggies of crack cocaine, and you had no idea.
I told you I was sleeping. I was tired. I wasn't paying attention. Should I have been? Yes, ma'am. I should have been, but I wasn't. And that's my fault. That's my responsibility to that.
The police report says they saw you selling drugs.
No, they didn't see me. That's what he said. I wouldn't lie. I don't have a reason to lie. Any trouble I've ever gotten into, I've taken responsibility for.
You are trash.
I've always been accountable for what I do. You asked me, and I'm telling you what happened. Should I have known? Should I have paid attention? Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just such a crazy story. I don't believe it. Okay, so why don't you tell us, you were using drugs. What were you using?
Fentanyl.
Okay, but you claim you didn't know you were using fentanyl, right?
No. I smoke marijuana. That's what I've done.
Did you have a medical marijuana card?
No.
Okay, so you're buying your marijuana illegally and it's laced with fentanyl.
Yes.
Are you catching my drift here? Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Totally. I'm not saying what I'm saying doesn't make sense or doesn't sound like what you think it should sound like. I'm telling you what happened and what was going on. I don't have any reason to make it seem any less or any more than what it is. It was what it was. I had been paying attention and done it differently. Yes, you're right. You're completely right about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're buying fentanyl on the street, basically, is what you're doing, right?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. What is, so now we've created a bigger issue for you, right? Because now you became addicted to fentanyl. What's your relapse prevention plan?
Well, before I came in and I realized that something was going on more than just the marijuana, I put myself in a cleanup, a program that you get clean and then they send you to another program.
A detox?
So you can do, yeah. So you can do, and then after that you go into a program to do a program. And I ended up catching a double seizure. So I had to reapply. And by that time, the bondsman came and got me and I ended up coming in here.
Okay. So I understand that you have very little support. Are you still with that boyfriend?
No.
Probably a good idea.
Now with them, no connection, no contact, nothing.
And your co-defendant, Jasmine, who was she to you? Was she a friend of yours?
Jasmine, I don't have a co-defendant.
Well, the person that they thought you were selling drugs to, she was there.
That's my foster sister's friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have
She's
contact
passed
with her?
away. No, she passed away. She passed away even before the case started.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't verify that. I don't have any verification of that. But anyway, my point initially was it appears to me that you have very little positive supports in your life, which means you need to build them, right? And how do we go about getting positive supports?
Well, I have a friend that's a positive support system in my life. She doesn't do drugs. She works, stays home. My kids are grown, so they're positive, and I choose to self-help. Like if I can read something, if I can talk to somebody, then that's what I do. If I have to do a program, I'll do that too. But I'm determined to stay on a positive path.
Yeah. What about supports in the recovery community?
I can do that as well. Well, I tried to do the drug program, so I'm trying to reach out to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not so, I don't have a lot of knowledge about that, but.
Yeah, what I mean is someone you can talk to, someone who knows what you're going through. And if you feel like you're going to relapse or you do relapse, someone to call.
Right.
Why haven't you taken any programs yet?
I have never taken drugs in my whole entire life besides smoking marijuana. It's not a lane that I'm prone to or that I've ran to with any situations I've had in my life. It's something that happened in a relationship, and as soon as I realized what was going on and what I should have been doing, it was already too late because I had to come in here.
But you did do drugs because you said you were smoking marijuana daily. You were using that for some reason.
Well, yeah, it helps. It was helped me through the day, but yeah. But as far as like other drugs, no, that's not something that I've done.
But you became addicted, obviously, because you were getting the marijuana in the wrong way. So, so it can happen. You're proof that it can happen.
Absolutely. I see the ripple effect it had in my life.
Right. You've had 4 successful community releases, so you know how to be on probation or whatever type of release it was. You know how to do it correctly. You have to use the support. Anything can better us, right? Any help can be beneficial. Where do you stand with your driver's license? Because it was suspended. Why was it suspended?
I think it was because of parking tickets I had. So I had paid them and reinstated it. And then now my license is good. I had to pay it like almost $800. I had a parking ticket.
So after this offense occurred, you paid all that?
Well, after the offense occurred is when I found out, yeah. And I had to pay to get a case opened, then pay the ticket, and then pay for the license to be reinstated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. $800. Wow. That's a lot of money.
About that. Yeah.
What were you doing for work at that time?
Well, I was a CNA, and then before I came in, I started working housekeeping because I couldn't do the manual labor because of my neck. I have a broken disc in my neck, so I couldn't do the lifting anymore.
And you had $800 cash sitting around to pay off car fine?
No, I had to save it. Okay.
All right. Okay. So do you plan to work? I did it piece
by piece. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. You plan to work now? Are you able to work?
Yes.
Are you working in the facility right now?
Yes. I work in commissary.
You have a commissary job? How long have you been doing that?
I believe since April or May.
Okay. Are you going to meetings there?
No. I signed up for tier 2.
Yeah.
But they haven't put me in yet.
Well, it's on your OAP, right?
I believe it is.
What else? Do you have our OAP programs? What are they?
Okay, good intentions, bad choices, a job, and addiction.
Okay, so you've covered one thing on your OAP.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the good intentions.
You signed the OAP.
Yeah, but they didn't tell me what it was. They just told me I had to do tier 2 and work and some schooling thing, but.
Yeah, and if you did tier 2, that would be sufficient for good intentions, bad choices as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I certainly hope you're able to get into that program. Okay, and you want to go to a halfway house?
Yes.
Where do you go from there?
Well, I was planning on saving up to get a place.
Okay. On your own?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Thank you for speaking with me. I'm going to turn over to my colleague, Mr. Szyszowskis.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I don't have a lot of questions. My colleague covered most of what I was going to ask. I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about how you've changed since you've been incarcerated. So you could talk about that a little bit. I'm concerned about the lack of programming. So, have you gone to any meetings? Have you done anything else that we're not aware of that you could talk about?
Well, at home, like I told you, I got into that detox and then to the program. So I can't say I knew I had a problem then because I'm not a person who does hard drugs like that. I mean, I know marijuana to use a drug, but to me, it's not like those other drugs. So I didn't even realize that it was an issue of that sort. So when I did the detox and the programming, and then I got taken by bond and then came in here, that's when I realized, you know what? Maybe I should be doing something else. So I do the programs that will come in the building, They would have like one social worker or counselor will come and do a program in the middle of the building, do those programs. But I would write for other ones and I haven't got responses on them. So I'm not too sure how you would push yourself to get in there, but I do write the request to get into the programs. But I didn't know about, NA and all that until about a month ago.
So
I don't
The
really talk
detox-
to everybody.
the detox and then the program, subsequent program after that, just so I understand that correctly, did that take place after you were arrested, but before you were incarcerated?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it did.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry. Where was that program?
The detox
Both.
in New London, the detox one was in New London, and then the program was in Croydon.
What was the name of the
I
facility?
think it was CBH.
CBH or SCAD?
I think it was CBH. SCAD was where I did the detox, and then the CBH was the program in Croydon.
Okay.
CBH and Grad.
I think it's CBH.
Okay.
The
Stonington
program's right here, and
Institute?
then you go across the street.
Was it Stonington Institute?
I'm not sure. It could
Sorry.
be.
Okay.
I
Sorry.
know because I
That's
think
okay.
around
I'm trying
I'm
to
not sure.
appreciate it.
what it's called.
All right.
So you've been clean since then, since that detox,
Yes.
and since that program, is that what you're saying to us today?
Well, yeah. Until when the lawyer told me that I was coming in and then I started smoking weed again, I was depressed. I didn't even know how depressed I was, but I was depressed. And I was
But at that-
working and
That marijuana that you're talking about at that point do you think that had fentanyl in it again?
yeah, because the lady told me when I did the urine that it was in the urine. And I said, I don't know how because I haven't done it.
Okay.
And she said that it was.
So that's the only way you know is because when you took the drug test.
Took the urine, yeah.
All right, Madam Chair, thank you very much. Those are all the questions I have.
Thank you. Ms. Palmer.
I have no follow-up question.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Give us a few minutes to discuss your case and we'll give you our decision shortly.
Okay.
All right. So here's where I stand. Whether we believe the explanation or not, she got the drugs in her system, right? And we're here. She was convicted. I wish she could have taken the tier 2 program or some program, to be honest, because I'm just not sure it's going to be addressed out in the community. She seems pretty confident that she's just not going to use anymore. But after she did detox and treatment, she did. So it's a concern. Go ahead.
Could I ask one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ms. Garcia, when you were in federal prison, did you do drug treatment in federal prison?
Yeah,
Which program did you do?
I did the in programming. You do the program inside and then you come out.
So did you do the
It's-
500 hour? Did you do the 500-hour program?
You live inside the program, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
that's like a tier 4.
Yeah, when was that though?
So she was in federal custody in 2008
2008, yeah.
for 6 years,
Yeah,
and then you came out to 5 years federal probation.
yes.
And when you were on federal probation, did they have you go to drug treatment?
No. I
No?
went in the beginning, they had like a release thing and you go maybe, I don't remember, a couple of months, but after you give them clean urines, they did. I worked 2 and 3 jobs.
Okay, so when you were in the
Yeah.
halfway house, did they have you doing drug treatment?
As long as you were in the building, you would do a class for an hour. Yeah,
So we did a tier 4 inpatient for marijuana with the feds.
That's what that program is.
No, right, but do you understand what I'm saying? When
I
I do
do.
marijuana use? So I feel like we have an ongoing issue here, so, I don't know. I mean, we could try to
Well,
get her into the tier 2.
if I could tell you, in the federal prison, as long
Yeah.
as you had a drug case, they would allow you to take the program. You didn't actually
Okay.
have to be using the drugs.
Okay, thank you. We could have her do the tier 2 program and come back, or send her out and hope that she gets treatment in the community. I mean,
I mean, if you could see, I've been on probation and I've
So
always
I'm gonna
followed
ask
the
you
rules.
now not to interrupt us anymore, please. You can listen to our
sorry.
deliberation, but please don't interrupt.
My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she does well in the community. I'll give her that, but she comes back.
I don't see any violence in any of this.
No. So this is, what we call high risk, low stakes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a good chance that the behavior will continue, but is she gonna hurt anybody? Well, I don't know. If you're selling drugs with fentanyl, maybe, but, what are your thoughts, Mr. Staskis?
I really, like you said, I struggle with this, drug treatment. And that's why I was asking those questions. And, I hear that she's taken some other programs in the past, but she seems to just relapse every time after, even after this latest one. So,
Yeah, I think I'd like to have her do the tier 2 program and come back and see us. Ms. Palmieri,
So she scores out of 4 for her substance abuse. I am, I see it a positive thing, like that prior to coming into the facility, prior to her sentencing, she did put herself in a detox.
yeah,
And from her own report, she had a medical condition which seems to have prevented her from participating in the follow-up inpatient piece to that. So I do believe that Ms. Garcia knows how to address her drug problem.
Mhm.
She knows that she has an issue. She knows when she needs to go to treatment
yeah.
to address that drug problem. So I am, I do see that as a positive to her release.
Mhm.
You know-
But she used after doing that program.
She did.
Yeah.
I just, based on all that she's already done.
Right.
Tier 2 is kind of, it's not a lot.
But it could be mindset too. Like she's of the mindset that she's never used drugs. She's going to go out there and never use them again. So, the relapse prevention plan is weak here. So maybe you gain something about a relapse prevention plan and support in the tier 2 program.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She definitely would benefit from it, aside from what we decide today, but when she gets back in the community, like a C-car.
Right.
That's,
So I don't think she thinks she needs that.
yeah, well,
But that's
that's
the problem.
where the community support comes in.
Yeah.
Through those programs,
Right.
even more.
how long is this tier 2?
3 months,
Yeah, I think it's 12.
It's 12 weeks.
sessions.
right? Once a week. So 3 months. Yeah.
And there, I would account for at least another week or so, because there's usually,
Yeah. I would do like 4
they
months.
regularly give it
Yeah.
so
Right.
closer to 4.
I don't know. I would do it 4 months per year. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I feel more comfortable with that,
Okay.
that she completes.
We're
Tier
not
2.
covered November, December, January, February. Are you okay with that?
I am.
February. Okay. Inadequate programs. And offender change. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
Okay. No tickets, so that's good. Yeah.
Her record is minimal.
How do you say your last name?
Garcia,
I mean, not your, I'm sorry. I meant to say your first name. How do you say your first name?
Kiashia.
Kiashia, okay. All right, in the matter of Kiashia Garcia, inmate number 302487, I'll move to deny parole at this time, but rehear the case in February of 2025, 4 months from now. Denials for the following reasons: inadequate program participation and inadequate evidence of offender change. We're going to recommend that Ms. Garcia participate in an addiction services program. She is supposed to be starting tier 2, I believe, but we won't specify that. They could put her in whichever one they'd like, and receive no disciplinary reports prior to her next hearing. Anything further? Is there a second motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll see you in 4 months, ma'am. Okay, good luck to you. This will help you get into the program.
This
Yeah.
concludes the hearing for Kiashia Garcia.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we all believe her, she had no idea it was in her bra. She was definitely buying the Fetty by mistake because she thought it was in her marijuana. I mean, we totally believe her, right? We buy that hook, line, and sinker. But anyways, what a bad parole hearing. Let's see if she improves it, because we're back. We're back for her parole hearing. How fast does time fly? Do you think that just a few months of programs can completely change a person? I don't know. Let's see if she at least has a better parole hearing. So with that, let's jump in.
All right, good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyster. Today is Friday, March 21st, 2025. This is hearing the Connecticut Board of Departments of Parole. Following board members are present this morning by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutory required documents and available pertinent information for this hearing.
Good morning, Mike Cole.
Good morning, Robert Sazowskis.
And I'm Ellen Zappo Sasu.
Can you please state your name and your name number for the record?
Good morning, Kiashia Garcia, 302-487.
Thank you. This hearing has been conducting consideration of the parole application for Kiashia Garcia, name number 302-487. She is serving a sentence of 7 years suspended after 27 months with 3 years probation for sales of hallucinogen narcotics and failure to appear first. That's the day record reflect parole eligibility date of November 3rd, 2024. There is no victim input. There is an affirmative accountability review that shows that she's tier 2 and has a job. Utilizing the women trust needs to review and the overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. Ms. Garcia, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Well, during the time that I've been, I have a letter to read, but I'd like to say that during the time that I've been here and been able to sit with myself, I have learned things and been able to process those things. And I feel I have the proper tools that I need to make better decisions. And I'd like to be given the chance to prove that to you guys. I don't see anybody, but
You don't see us?
no. I thought it was going to pop up, but it hasn't.
What do you currently see on your screen?
It says DOP York CI hearing room 3 and some names on the side.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, can we
If you guys want to
please?
continue, you want to pause or? do you-
No, we can continue. But we're gonna get the video straightened out so that you can see us, but you can hear us. Okay?
Yes, I can hear.
So,
She said she could read.
oh, did you have an opening statement you wanted to read?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
If that's
sure.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Do I start now?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be given the chance to apologize to my victims and loved ones for the damage that I inflicted in their lives, as well as the bad choices that led me here. During the time I've been here, I've been able to reflect on my way of thinking and choices I've made. Joining Tier 2 has opened my eyes to a different way of viewing and thinking, always making decisions that give me quick gratification, not taking the time to think things through, which lead to chaos and trouble in my life. Now I can honestly say that Counselor Cohen's teachings and helping with how to slow myself down and think about why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling and what I can do to change the negative to a positive. Learning that makes me feel better about moving forward in life and having a better outcome. Going to Tier 2 helped me understand that when I need help, I need to reach out and ask for it, which is why I joined the Al-Anon after graduating to Tier 2. At Al-Anon also helps me to continue to work on myself and feel good about having a good support system, knowing there's others like me who can help me, as well as my loved ones. A positive and caring support system to reach out to. I plan to use all my resources and support systems to keep myself on a path of healthy and balanced life, making amends, positive and better choices towards the people I've hurt, as well as rebuild good relationships with my community and always continue to work on myself.
You guys see us now?
Yes, I can see you now.
All right, perfect. No, we could see you the whole time. So that's good. And
Yeah.
that statement was really good. Very insightful and such. And maybe you remember Mr. Sazowskis
Yeah, good morning.
from last time.
Yeah.
So just like last time, we're gonna ask some follow-up questions and then talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Okay.
Okay, board member Sazowskis.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Yeah, so I was in your original hearing. And, I know that that was not the news you wanted to hear probably at the end of that hearing, that you were going to have to stay and complete programming. But I can say just from this short interaction so far, you sound much better
Yeah.
already. So it does appear, just from what we've heard so far, that you have gained some insight from that tier program. So,
Yes.
I'm glad you took advantage of that, and, you know, definitely from what your opening statement sounded like, that you've learned some things, so. I'm gonna go through my questions. You've answered some of them already with your opening statement. I don't even recall an opening statement like that in your last hearing.
No.
Yeah, this sounded much better, I have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Yeah, so let's go back to the original crime, because at the last hearing, we had some difficulty with that part of all of this. I don't want to relitigate the case, but I do want to just kind of clear up some of this, and then we'll just move on.
Yeah.
So the police stopped you after they were watching you. I don't know if you know, but they were watching you, and they saw that you had sold drugs to someone, and they stopped the other person. The other person had the drugs on them, and, you know, they said that they just bought it from you, and then they stopped you right after. They find some drugs on you. I know it wasn't your car, and I get all that. You had a suspended license. They did find some Suboxone in your purse right away, and you said, you know, that was for your personal use. But then when you get to the police station and they search you, they find 45 bags of fentanyl in your clothing, in your pocket. So that's a lot more concerning, because you know that how dangerous fentanyl is, and that's a large quantity I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay? You know, during the last hearing, you were trying to convince us that you didn't know the drugs were in here, that it was your boyfriend's. And it's just hard. It was hard for us to understand how you didn't know that drugs were within your clothing and that it didn't belong to you. So
Right.
I just wanted to revisit that and see where you stand on that today. At the time, you told the police it was for your personal use, whatever. I just, you know, I would hopefully, through the programming that you've learned, that, you know, you just learned that you made some bad decisions here, and this led us to this. So
Right.
what do you recall from happening that day?
I recall going to meet with somebody, and I saw the girl crying, and she got in the car. We took a drive around, and I dropped her off, and then I drove off after a little bit and was followed by the police and pulled over.
You are trash.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then after they pulled me over, they searched the car, which, like, it wasn't mine, and then they took me to the police station and researched me. And that's when they found the drugs.
Yeah.
And I was embarrassed, is what I
Okay.
was.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's a reasonable explanation, right? Not blaming someone else, but taking responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah, I was.
I would be embarrassed too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the drugs, you knew that they were in your bra, right?
Yeah. I knew they were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we can get past this, and then let's just move on to some other questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your driver's license situation. It was suspended, right, when they stopped you?
Yeah.
All right, what's going on now?
I didn't know at the time it was suspended, but it's all been, I paid some tickets that I had, and then they reinstated, and I paid the reinstatement, and I have the license now. Well, I've had it for a couple years now.
Because you were out pending the case working its way through the courts? Is that?
No, when I was out, yeah, I fixed it way before I came in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I also read that you're working in the commissary. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I went from bagging to 2 different stations. I help out when help is needed. It's a little hard work, but I enjoy it. Keeps me busy, and it keeps me motivated. I met some good people there. The staff is good there. You know,
Okay.
they've helped me stay focused on working and doing what's good. So.
You think you learned any skills, even customer service or dealing with your coworkers, that kind of thing?
Customer service, teamwork, learning the job and doing the job the proper way. Yeah.
Okay. So those are some things that you could probably take when you go back out to find a job.
Absolutely.
Before before any bad decisions get made, get yourself working. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking about employment, do you have any opportunities for employment in the community?
Well, I'm not sure as to where I'm going, but I have been looking at different resources in the area. So I just figured I would just go online and apply to places, and however, I don't know how they do it, but I would preferably go online and apply. And if I can call them or walk over there to the job, I would take what I can for the moment till I can get what I really would like to do.
Yeah, so most businesses now, you can apply online, but that doesn't mean that after a couple days, you can't call and then try to follow up and, say, I applied online, but I would get on that right away, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As soon as they let me. I don't know how the process works, how they do things, or what time framing they have, but as soon as they allow me to get out there and get the job, I'm gonna do it. If they allow me to do 2, I'll do that. But I also want to do programming as far as like go into the self-help groups. So I want to kind of put that in there as well as with the working.
So I heard you mention Al-Anon. Are you talking about NA, AA, Al-Anon, things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you looked
I'm
at
also thinking
places?
about trying to
Go
do
ahead.
some counseling.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Have you looked at places where they might have programs like that where you might be going?
Well, they say once you find where the program is, like the Al-Anon or the AA or NA, they have resources there that can help you find those places.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are very popular programs that you're describing. So most places,
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to find somewhere in a church or some community center, somewhere where you're going,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I read that you wanted to go to a halfway house and then work on reconnecting with your children at some point. Can you just talk a little bit about your release plan and what your plan is?
Well, my plan is, like I said, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going, but wherever it is that I do go, I plan to work and do the programs that I want to do, and then gradually rebuild my relationships with my children. And hopefully they'll, want to do the same and start from there. I mean, I don't have any plan of like going back to where I came from. I really would like to find somewhere to settle and start living life there. So.
Okay. When was the last time you talked to your children?
2 days ago.
Okay, so you are communicating with them while
Yes,
you're
on the
incarcerated.
phone. Yes,
That's good.
yes.
How old are they?
They're grown, 30. They're from 30 to 19, 4 of them.
Okay. So that's a good support system to have, right?
Yes, they've been great. I can't ask for anything better. I mean, from what I've done, I'm grateful that they're there and, they allow me to do that.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before I pass on to my colleagues? I don't have a lot of other questions for you. We asked you a lot of questions in the first hearing, so I'm very familiar with your situation and your case and what happened. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Just that I appreciate the opportunity and focus on doing better, making better choices for myself and my children.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. You sound much better. You've done
Thank
well
you.
since the last hearing.
I
So,
appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Garcia, just one thing. Have you ever heard of C-card?
No.
So if you go back on your tablet after the hearing,
Yeah.
there's a orange yellow button that has C-card, the Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery.
Okay.
And if you're going to go to New Haven or Bridgeport, both of those have a really good recovery community center.
Okay.
And they have recovery coaches. So you have a little bit of experience with sponsorship and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
And you know how a sponsor like helps you through the steps and you get to talk to them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they aren't experts on resources that are available in the community. And a recovery coach is. So I know like you talked about, wanting to get some counseling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, the recovery coach knows some counselors in the area they can make a referral to that understand addiction and any kind of issues that you're going through and stuff like that. And they
Right.
also help with like a resume and, where are some places that are good in this area to apply for a job.
Okay.
So if you go back and you take a look at that and you request a coach, It's something that just reinforces, rather than going out there. And the last time I was out there, I did what I did to get in there. You know, you had a little bit of time in between, but you know, if you have a coach out there that can help you find the resources that you need just really quickly,
Right.
that would be really good for you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the information.
Okay. Board member Zappa-Sasso.
And just to continue that theme, in the past, you've been successful when you've been on community supervision. So that says to me that you know how to use your parole officer and your probation officer as a resource. And do you feel that that's going to continue this release?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
Even better. Go ahead.
Even better, because now I used to have well, I can't say used to. I'm working very hard on being able to reach out. Like sometimes it's just so hard for me to reach out that I reach out too late. So I'm learning now that I have to reach out as soon as things happen so that I can get the proper help that I need before things get to a bad place or wind up not working out. So that's one of my things that I've been focusing on is asking for help and reaching out right when I need it and not trying to figure it out before it's too late and then I wind up in a bad spot.
So you had mentioned in one of the reports that I read that Tier 2 brought you to a place of self-evaluation. And I'm assuming what you just talked about is part of that process.
Yes, it is. Making choices. I'm quick to make a decision without thinking it through and telling myself the goods and bads of it. It's just like, I got to do this, I'm going to do it. And that's just that. And I need to slow myself down and tell myself, listen, you have to think about this and think about the way to do it so it winds up coming out good and staying on the path of what I needed to do instead of making decisions so quickly and not thoroughly thinking it through. That's a big thing for me. So I've been able to sit back and understand that how I'm feeling is forcing me to think the way that I'm thinking. I need to regroup myself before I even get to that space.
Well, I think that you're on a good path. And in the past, you had referenced that you had limited community support, but it sounds to me like you've already lined things up between your children, finding a sponsor, post-release treatment. All of that is important. And just like you're staying focused in the commissary, staying focused in the community with all of this is going to be a good path for you. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Board member Sebastian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Ms. Garcia is here. I'm gonna read here. I had her back in October in the original hearing. And at that time, we had recommended that she complete an addiction services program that was on her OAP. Get a job in the facility and then no additional disciplinary reports. So she's done all of those things. She is in the past has been successful on community supervised release 4 times and has never had an unsuccessful period of community supervised release. So like panel member Zappa-Sasso said, that's a pretty good indication of where she's at. Today she comes forward and sounds much better than her last hearing. And she was able to articulate what she learned in the Tier 2 program. And her release plan sounds good. She has support from her family. She's been talking to them on the phone, getting prepared for her release to the community. She explained how she needs to slow down and take into consideration the consequences of her actions before she makes decisions. It's something that she learned in Tier 2. And in the past, making impulsive decisions sounds like it led her into trouble. So I think that's probably the most important thing for her, to just slow down and before something bad happens, like she said, think it through. What the outcomes are going to be from making different decisions before she does it, and so that way she doesn't land back in the situation. So she's done well. So considering all of that, I'm in favor of granting her a discretionary parole today.
Okay, I think we're all in the same place.
We are.
Where what would we have her do? Halfway house code D?
Yeah, I had halfway house. Originally I had driving, but it sounds like that situation's been resolved, so I'm okay with not putting driving on there. So,
So happy house code.
yeah, and then, I mean, there was a co-defendant involved in this. I don't know if she would ever have contact with this person again. You guys want to discuss, we need to add that for this.
How do you know Jasmine?
My foster sister, she was her friend.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a random person. Apparently it's someone that she knows that's in this, or her previous life, you know?
Okay,
I would like to add it.
Yeah,
okay. And that's it, right?
yeah, I think that's it right now.
Can you say your first name again?
Kiashia Garcia.
Kiashia. In regard to Kiashia Garcia, 302-487, I know it's a grant parole on or after March 21st, 2025, with the following stipulations: halfway house placement, no contact with co-defendant Jasmine LaChapelle. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Ms. Garcia, you've been voted to parole. Your conditions will be explained to you prior to your release. And please, when you go back, do reach out to CCAR.
I will. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes,
Thank you.
I will.
See it, they go to boards.
Okay, and they grant and look, I mean, the way that it started, it's like this, it's like she was not going to admit that it was her fault, and the parole board member was like coaxing her into trying to get the right answer, right? That's what it felt like. She's like, she starts off by just, I was just going here with my friend, and then the police followed me, and then they found me, and it was like, no, you had one job. You had one job, and she still didn't do it until he kind of like pushed her into the corner, and then only then did she finally say, okay, it was my stuff, and it felt like she was still pushing back on it, like saying it resentfully, or like I don't know, like I mean, was someone using her as a mule, so to speak? Like, is she really not a dealer and she's kind of being used into it, and that's why she kind of feels this way? You get what I'm saying? Like maybe she's like there's like the dealer is really somewhere else, and she's pressured into I don't know, but like she doesn't get like the. Well, what was she get? Let's see what Lady Holly put in here for all the info. And we only go back 10 years on record, so she doesn't have a lot. Let's see. She has. Let me click the share button. Possession with intent. Let's see what it is. She has possession with intent to distribute. So it was possession with intent. She got 7 years, suspended after 27 months, 3 years probation. Now, for many of you, you might remember we did cover this case when it initially came out in late October, November, and now we're just redoing it. So thank you, Lady Holly, for connecting the dots on this case. But yeah, she doesn't, she's a failure to appear, Now, she is going to be getting out. I did Google her before playing this because it's been like 2 months, and I do not see that she's been rearrested for anything. If she does come back, we'll cover her revocation hearing. But I got to tell you, I still don't, look, okay, fine. They said, come back in a few months, don't get a write-up, get a job, take a program. She did that. Okay. But if you really think it makes a difference, and then, I mean, more like, how do you go through all of DOC, take a program, and not know the word CCAR? That's all you need to know. That is like the key program in the state of Connecticut. If you actually went through your programs, you would know at least that word when she's asked it. And for me, that's my takeaway. That's mind-boggling to me. It's like, have you heard of CCAR? No. Have you what programs on the outside are you going to go into? Oh, I'll research it later. There was still no preparation. There was nothing, there are some people that you actually can see when they show up to the parole hearing that they do want to stay sober, that they are ready, that they talk about doing 90-90, that they've even researched where they're going to go for their AA or whatever. Here there was nothing. She's just checking boxes, and come on, if you like, it's just a joke. It's a gimmick, really. But what can you do? You want to keep her locked up forever? But neither here nor there. We keep track of these parole hearings as they go through. So you get to see stage 1, stage 2. It wasn't that long of a stretch for her to have a better parole hearing. I didn't really see much of a difference. The only difference is that eventually she admitted, kind of. Like, I don't know. The whole thing is ridiculous. But there you have it. It's all, you know, all this money, tens and millions of dollars. Who knows how much it's going into rehabilitation of someone? And then when you really see what it is, it's just one big giant joke, in my opinion. But hopefully she stays out. I just don't see how she possibly could. I mean, she's no young pony. Is that the word? She's what is she? In her almost 50 years old. I mean, to be playing these games, right? So, but we can end with Lady Holly's fact of the day. And the fact of the day for us will be that in Colorado, it's illegal to keep a couch on your porch. I feel like we've said that fact of the day before. If we haven't, I don't know. I feel like we have. Should we do another one? Let's see what else we have. I'm pulling up some random doc. In California, it's illegal to whistle for a lost canary before 7 a.m. Just think about that. There was a law passed in California that said it's illegal to whistle for a lost canary before. How does that happen, ladies and gentlemen? How are laws like that put in the books? How many people have been whistling for their lost canary? Now, you know that it's probably the only way that could have happened is that there must have been some lawmaker that had a neighbor that lost a canary that's looking for it, and they got so pissed off they passed the laws. But whew, I keep saying this. I should make a YouTube channel just covering the most bizarre laws and how they came about and their history on it, because I find it to be fascinating and absurd at the same time. But it just makes me want to know. It makes me want to know, how did that possibly happen? And with that, I'll let you go.
Putting me until I got to the jail.
But
They
where?
searched me
But
in
where?
my bra. In my bra.
Wait
right
a
here.
minute. Are you really you're gonna sit here and tell us that someone put Suboxone, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in your purse and bra, and you didn't know it?